and welcome to this online class. Today is the part 4 video of this chapter, tissues, and I'm taking it step by step so that you are not just given too much of information and you don't know what is happening. So I'm just trying to go step by step slowly so that you understand this content well. Okay, and before I give you the intro of this channel and my lesson, if this is the first time, then do consider subscribing and like the video. And if you feel like telling me something, then you can write it in the comment section. Let's roll the intro. Okay, we studied about entirely plant tissue in the first 3 videos. Okay, animals are also made up with cells and different tissues, right? So today we are going to look at the animal tissue and the different kinds. Okay, under plant tissue we looked at meristematic tissue and permanent tissues. Under that, subcategories of simple permanent, complex permanent, and different examples of tissues. Here we are going to study about animal tissue, and they are classified into muscular tissue, epithelial tissue, nervous tissue, and connective tissue. Okay, so there are 4 subcategories of animal tissues. That is what we are going to learn. So in this video, we'll just look at muscular and epithelial tissue, and in the next video, upcoming video, we will talk about nervous and connective tissue. I hope we are good and on the same page till now. So let's learn about muscular tissue. Again, Baba Gyani is going to give us all the information, so let's learn that. Okay, under muscular tissue, what are we learning? Tissue is responsible. Which tissue? Muscular tissue is responsible for movement in our body. Again, the word muscular tells you about muscles. It helps you to move. Okay. Contains contractile proteins which contract and relax to cause the movement. So, if you can, take one a kind of a V-shaped metal or a prong, you can say, and then put a rubber band over here. Okay, now when you stretch the prong, this rubber band will increase in its length, and at the same, if you get them closer, it will contract. Same way, when you bend your hand in a different direction, okay, or your leg when you're moving, or even when your fingers, every joint, okay, is possible because of these muscles. Every muscle that sometimes when you just show our strong muscles, this muscles will become hard, right, as you flex your hand. Why? Is because they contain this contractile proteins. Okay, that's why if you have a lot of proteins, then you will grow with muscle. So have dal, good for proteins. Okay, now the muscles are characterized into striated, smooth, and cardiac muscles. So remember the names. Okay, the muscular tissue, what is the purpose? It has contractile proteins, because of which it helps in the contraction and relaxation of the movement, muscle movement. Second, they are characterized into striated, smooth, and cardiac muscles. Muscles are either voluntary or involuntary muscles. Simple example. Okay, now what do we mean by voluntary and involuntary muscles? Sometimes if probably your friends or your brother, your sibling must have done this to you, that you are just there sitting, and then suddenly they will come and do as if they are going to punch you and on your face. So the moment they come closer and then they immediately move their hand to punch you, your eyelids automatically close, right? Do you control them actually? No. Can you say, if someone is coming close to me to punch in a very fraction of a second, I will keep my eye open? You can't. because of these muscles, involuntary muscles, right? They work on their own. Same way, if you are sitting and your leg is just hanging and not touching the ground, and if you just hit on your knee, automatically this leg will go in front, unless you keep completely force yourself to do it, and you don't know that someone is hitting on your knee, you will not be able to do. Otherwise, just a a punch on the knee will automatically move your leg in front. Why? Because it is involuntary. You are not controlling it. It happens on its own. Just the way your lungs, they become bigger when you inhale, become smaller when you exhale. How does this movement happens? Involuntary. Can you control those lungs movement? No, you can't. Can you control the in your eye you have the different kinds of cells which are moving when the light is shining more? All that happens, and because of involuntary muscles. Okay, next are voluntary muscles. If someone punches you, you have the control to punch that person back or keep quiet. Okay, is because of voluntary muscle. You have the control over it, but I'm sure most of them will punch back, right? So does it mean that your muscle is involuntary? No, it doesn't. You are making a conscious effort to do it. So remember this difference: voluntary and involuntary. Sometimes these voluntary muscles are called as skeletal muscles, and involuntary muscles are called as smooth muscles. So you can be asked, write the difference between skeletal muscle and smooth muscle, and then you might say, अरे आते सराके वीडियोस येतो लँड केन्ना सांगूंक ना म्हाका हें आनी कितें. But it is all nothing but voluntary and involuntary. So remember that. Okay, heart muscles are also called as cardiac muscle. Again, something to remember. Sometimes they say in TV and all, when you're reading or even on a newspaper, they might say someone got a cardiac arrest, and then huh, कौन arrest कौन झाला? It can be confusing at times. So you should be able to understand that cardiac means heart. So that means cardiac arrest means maybe heart attack. Okay, so the moment the word, okay, some doctors are maybe cardiac specialists, so which means they are related to heart doctors. Okay, so heart muscle is also called as cardiac muscle. This is all about muscular tissue under the category of animal tissue. Okay, I hope this part is very clear. If you did, good, we'll proceed further. If it did not, then feel free to rewind and watch the video again. Okay, let's take a few questions if you can remember whatever you have learned till now and check. Animal tissue is classified into these four types. Okay, heart muscle is also called as cardiac muscle. Next, why voluntary muscles are called as skeletal muscles? And you should remember that it connects directly to the bones. That's the reason you have control over them. Okay, then smooth muscles are called as involuntary muscles. So I hope you are able to answer all these questions. If you did, that means you have understood perfectly. Next is epithelial tissue. Under this, we'll learn a few more things. Okay, now the covering tissue in the animal body. Epithelium covers most of the organs, so it is like a plastic bag. So epithelium you can remember as a plastic, it's a covering, it covers most of the organs, a barrier to keep different body systems separate. Okay, so epithelial tissue is like a boundary wall which is putting, if you go to the market and you buy different vegetables, you might put them in separate different bags, right? So that you are separating them. Just like that, the epithelial tissue covers different organs together and keeps different organs of the body separate. Okay, the skin, your skin which is there, is an example of epithelial tissue. The lining of the mouth, the lining of the blood vessels, lung alveoli and kidney tubules are made up of epithelial tissue. So you need to remember different places where epithelial tissue exists. Okay, so all these are the examples. Then there are various types of epithelial tissues. Okay, and let us understand which are they. They are simple squamous, again, new names for you. Understand, remember, simple squamous, stratified squamous, cuboidal, and columnar. Okay, now let us look at it each and every one separately. Simple squamous is nothing but thin and flat. What kind of it is? If you look at your textbook for this, you will have some pinkish color diagrams which you can remember, or you can just Google all these squamous epithelial tissues and you will see all of them in one go. Okay, so simple squamous tissue is thin and it is flat. Okay, and where it is in the esophagus and the lining of the mouth, so inside and esophagus. Next is stratified squamous. The skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent wear and tear. Now, to give you an example, sometimes whenever maybe you are going somewhere and you just get you rub against the wall, and the wall was of cement, and then it'll create some lines kind of, and then some skin might peel off, but blood doesn't come. Okay, there's no flow of blood, but at the same time, if you are pierced with a needle or a pin, then suddenly blood will start oozing out. Now, both the cases the skin was damaged, right? But in the first case, it has just ripped off probably the first layer of your skin. That's the reason it just hurts, because it is part of your body, but then blood is not oozing out, because you are on a very higher skin. Okay, there are different layers, so 1 2 3 4 like that. So after a particular layer, then the blood will start flowing. When you pierce something, all those you're passing through all those layers, and then the blood will start flowing out. So stratified squamous is the skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers to prevent the wear and tear. Okay, otherwise every time you would touch or nudge someone, if blood would flow, then you can imagine how many times your blood would actually start flowing. So to avoid all this, there are different layers of the skin. Next is cuboidal, which is again called as a cube-shaped cells. The word itself, cube, right? You can understand what's a cube. Lining of the kidney tubules and ducts of the salivary glands. So salivary glands, where the saliva comes in, ducts which produced that salivary glands are in cuboidal cells, okay, or tissue. Columnar, also called as ciliated. Okay, remember the word, I have purposely colored it red. Okay, columnar is also called as ciliated tissue, and meaning pillar like. Okay, inner lining of the intestine tissue has cilia. So if you remember your 7th standard, where you learned about nutrition in animals, and then we learned different parts of the digestive system, and one of them was intestine, and we said that it has finger like structures which is called as villi, and then they will absorb all the nutrients, all that, right? Of what it is made up of? Columnar. What is it called? Ciliated. Okay, the tissue is also called as ciliated tissue or columnar tissue. So remember this. Where it is found? Intestine. So we learned about the epithelial tissues and the different types of them. Okay, simple squamous, stratified, cuboidal, and columnar. Till now, we have learned two kinds of tissues: muscular tissue and epithelial tissue. So I'll conclude this video till here. We have started with animal tissue, and the first two tissues is what we have studied till now. Okay, muscular tissue and epithelial tissue. I hope you have understood whatever I explained till here. And again, if you did understand, then please don't forget to hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to the channel. Most of my viewers don't subscribe. Please hit that subscribe button. Till then, take care.